like, I don't know, they say if you see sexism in your placements or anything, stand up for it. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. Like sexism, racism, like race. Okay, people not pronouncing your name isn't racism, but
Yeah,
you can
because they
be
can't. Yeah.
because but they can. It's not. I don't believe it's racism, but some people call it racism. So like, I've had my name mispronounced so badly, and if I was going to make a change about things, I
Yeah.
would correct them.
A hop, skip, and a jump away lives my buddy Hashini. It only takes a few minutes to get there, but we often spend hours talking away about things that matter to us. You might notice the beautiful features she inherited from her Sri Lankan parents. Well, she's also inherited some serious thinking powers.
It's like Vogue, 73 questions with Hashini Desilva.
Yes!
Yeah.
I actually love watching those, but
Do
they're
you?
just so fake.
It does. It does.
Hi. I'm Hashini and I'm a fourth year medical student at the university.
At the university?
That's literally how I had it.
Are you still in
No.
Otago?
University of Otago, Wellington. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Oh, well, just wait.
We've known each other since we were high school ducklings. So we exposed to each other our roller coaster ride of emotions as we were going through puberty. But then we left our hometown to follow our own paths. Hashini to Dunedin to study medicine, me to Wellington to study film. I must say I had a hell of a trimester directing a documentary film for a class. And now Hashini's joined me in Wellington as a medical student on placement at Wellington Hospital. I get deliveries shipped to her place so we can talk when something arrives. I'm glad she's back.
It's just like Hashini.
Hashini.
That's just my name.
Hashini,
but white
yeah.
people make the
Hashini.
Hashini, and
Yeah.
some people say
Hashini.
Hashini. Yeah,
The
you had to
Hashini.
draw one out, whereas this is like Hashini. It's just like Hashini.
Hashini.
Yeah, but it sounds weird now because everybody calls me Hashini.
Hashini. Sure, yeah, like.
But like the thing is, you should be able to correct it because
Mhm.
like, you know, people here can pronounce the names of like those like like tennis players. They have really hard names to pronounce.
Yeah.
But people can pronounce that, right?
Yeah.
So why can't
Because
they
it
make
makes
an
effort.
effort to pronounce our names right? Which is something they're teaching us. They're saying you should like aim to pronounce your patient's name right, and if you can't, ask them. And same for you. If someone's not pronouncing your name right, you should, you know, say something. But like sometimes I don't. And then one nurse was like, he was just saying he was calling me Hashi. He didn't get the end of it.
It might have been like your nickname.
Yeah, I know, and it didn't bother me because some people do call me Hashi. But
Hashini's chopsticks are Japanese, by the way.
yes, yeah,
That's how I
yeah,
remembered
yeah,
it so
that's
quickly.
true.
I was like, Hashini. Oh, right, okay.
That's so true.
Yeah, but.
Yeah. Like, I didn't correct him. And then at some point I said to one of the patients, like, hi, I'm Hashini. And he's like, oh, Hashini, you should have told me that's how you say it. I was mispronouncing it the whole time. And he's like, you know, you should correct me. Pronouncing your name wrong is racism. And I was like, oh, big R word. Okay, it's Hashini. I didn't mind too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a white guy who said it as well.
Right.
He was good. Because, like, not many people would, like, own up and be like, it's racism.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't know. I mean, some people say it's not racism if it's against white people. That's what someone I knew said, because white people are the one that caused racism, they say. But it's time's changing, right? The words meaning change. I don't know if it actually meant that in the first place, but anything that's any idea that's against, like, if you're neglecting someone because of where they're from or something,
yeah,
then that's definitely racism.
it is
right?
racism. I feel like when people say being racist to white people isn't racist, I don't agree with that. But maybe they're saying like being racist to the majority might not be racist, because like for example, like because minorities tend to be the people who like have to kind of struggle to like make themselves a person, and then if there's racism towards them, I feel like it's harder. Whereas the majority has established themselves, so it makes racism slightly more acceptable in society. Like obviously nobody should be racist to each other, but maybe that's what people mean by being racist to white people. It's okay.
I mean, they make it the thing that's okay at the moment, like because they say like, oh, trashy white people.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cringy. Oh, those white guys, like you just said before.
But it's
I don't
because they
know.
have the power. I think
Yeah.
when you're
Still
racist
to
to
this
people
day.
above you, you're not undermining them, and you're not affecting their ability to like rise up the ranks.
Yeah,
because they're already up there.
That's like saying Dwayne Johnson is ugly because you know he's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, because like, yeah, that's so, yeah.
Dwayne Johnson's real scrawny.
Yeah, it's like saying that. It's
Yeah.
like the message that, not the message, the documentary that we were going to make was going to be about prosopagnosia.
Is that the one where oh, you
You
told me
can't-
about this?
Yeah, you can't recognize faces.
Yeah, you can't recognize faces. Yeah,
Yeah, like no matter how many times you see them, you if you had like a massive nose, then they'll be like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the person with a massive nose, or crooked teeth, or
Yeah.
like hair, like all that part, but just can't put the whole thing together. Well, she thought this Asian girl on the bus was her friend,
Okay.
but it wasn't. I just wanted to do this thing where there was another girl in our team who had pretty much the same hairstyle as me. And she was shorter, but she kind of had similar voice. She was Chinese, so she had an accent.
Yeah, sorry.
And all good. And I just thought it would be good if we could sit next to each other and ask her if she would be able to tell us apart, because we met her already.
Okay.
And then if she was like no, then we would say, then what would you pay attention to be able to like tell us apart? So it's more like a practical sort of thing, rather than her saying, oh, I find it really hard, and what I do is to look at their hair, their features. Yeah, it's not like that. So I thought that would be great. I never thought that would be something to do with racism, but yeah, when I told my team about it, and I said, oh, this could be cool. And then, well, they seemed to be okay, but they're like, oh, yeah. And they even said, when are we going to do this shot and stuff? We hadn't done it at that point. We had a meeting with the lecturer. And then when I said that we were thinking of doing this, the lecturer said, there is a thing about like Asians being too similar and how people can't tell them apart and stuff like that. It might be controversial to put that in. And then I thought, what? And then these other two dudes say, yeah, we thought that too.
No,
and then I go,
I don't agree with that, because you are Asian yourself.
Yeah.
You know more what you experience in terms of racism than she does. Or
I think
she
so.
or he does.
But then it's usually the white people who say it's racist.
But it's stupid because, like, maybe you're addressing racism. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it being controversial?
I know, that's what documentaries are about,
That's
right?
so stupid. Like, oh no, don't step all over poor white people's like fragile, like, oh, we're not racist by putting that in there, because that does happen. That could have added something to.
I thought that could.
Yeah.
And then
that could help people out who actually do get Asian people confused or brown people confused. Like, as a practical guide.
I thought that, and I thought it'd be quite interesting visually too. But and then I was like, why didn't you guys tell me you guys were actually against it? He was like, we made it quite obvious. Like, we weren't really keen about it. We made it obviously we weren't really keen. And then I was like, what? But they didn't actually say anything. Someone told me, like, if Germans had a towel, like a towel that was really dirty at a restaurant, like if they thought it was yuck, they'd be like, you should wash it. But if it was a New Zealand guy, they'd be like, do you think maybe this should be washed? Do you think maybe this should be? It's just like all that.
all the uncertainties.
Yeah. So it's just like,
I like that though. But
sure. I don't know, because like that's like saying you should have guessed it, and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to guess? And they didn't say it to me. That whole expectation of, you know, people guessing what you feel just because you go, oh, say it, be German a bit.
Be German.
Be German. Yeah. And then the lecturer was like, oh, maybe there you weren't really Kiwi enough.
Your lecturer is racist.
No. She's actually...
It's like being uncomfortable with racism being shown in media is a bad thing, because it happens in the real world. Even if that wasn't your intention, it happens in the real world. And the fact that you weren't viewing it as in terms of racism, you were viewing it as two humans, but your lecturer viewed it as two Asians, which is racist.
Yeah. Because nobody wants to bother people, right? I can see where they were coming from.
You're not bothering me.
That's true.
You're just making people feel... Because the only people who feel uncomfortable about it are the people who do it themselves. And the people who do it themselves, even though it's unintentional, it is racist. Like, it's unintentional. Like, it's not bad people who get Asians mixed up. People do. But it is a hint of racism to the person receiving it, you know? So, the only people you're offending are the people doing it.
Oh yeah, true actually. Yeah, that's good. What?
Joelle from high school studies to become a vet, and she shared with us an article that was quite thought-provoking.
Just as many male and female people apply to become vets, but more females get in because they're less likely to get culled.
And then he says, because the guys are busy drinking and having sex.
Yeah, because
and the females are at home studying.
that's because women mature earlier than men, work hard and pass, he told Royal News. Whereas men find out about booze and all sorts of crazy things during their first year. Wow. So it's not just because they're not smart enough.
That's actually really bad.
What the heck?
And then he says, and this is awful because then more females are graduating, but they're only worth 2/5 of a man.
It's horrible.
2/5? Where did you even get that shit
Yeah,
from?
where did you pull that statistic? Kelly then went on to imply that a high fallout rate in the vet profession was a result of the life choices made by female graduates.
Like having children.
Oh, that's always the same problem, everywhere.
Maternity leave is a thing.
Yeah, I know, but no, I'm just talking about like that always comes up.
The problem is one woman graduate is equivalent to 2/5 of a full-time equivalent vet throughout her life because she gets married and has a family, which is normal. The fact that he doesn't even say 2/5 of a male vet, he says 2/5 of a full-time equivalent. Like, what does that make women then? Are they not full-time vets?
Yeah, and it's silly because our the chancellor of our vet, like the vet school, is a woman,
Right.
and most of our lecturers are women.
What an absolute ass.
Yeah.
Sexism, but he's probably racist as well.
He is.
We start to recognize things we didn't when we were at school writing down notes. But theoretical becomes practical as we step out into the wider world.
Almost every single placement I've been on,
Are you
they've been
serious?
quite sexist.
How did they do it to
Really?
you?
It's just like the way that they talk to you, especially when you compare it to how they talk to their colleagues or a male vet student.
How
It's
so?
just like, I mean, it comes from a place of them trying to be polite and nice, and it's generally the older men who work in the rural practices.
Yeah.
But it's like they're talking to you as though you're their daughter, and they're trying to like look after you.
Accommodate you in a way, I suppose. like,
well,
huh?
no, they definitely don't want to accommodate, but they
Oh.
just kind of they dumb it's like they mansplain everything. Like just the way they talk to you is just mansplaining.
Oh, okay.
You're like, okay, yeah.
Isn't dumbing it down, as you said before.
Yeah, but everything, not just the content that's vet related. Somebody wanted me to give a sedative to a cow that had gotten a hip dislocation, and he was asking how much I knew about xylitol. Well, he asked how much I knew about sedative drugs. So like they'd say sedative drugs instead of like alpha-2 agonists or opioids, or not that opioids are sedative, but you use them in combination to make this sedation better. But he wouldn't say anything like that. He just asked me about sedatives.
Oh.
Like, which ones can you give via blood? Like, say IV. Everyone knows what IV is, you know, like.
So, like, dumbing down the terms.
Yeah, and just assuming that you're going to get it wrong. So then you don't really know how to answer because you don't know what they mean by things like by blood.
Kind of true.
Yeah.
I used to think feminism is like, oh, being like, woman, like, I don't know. I used to think it was like.
Men, they're awful beings, and
Yeah.
and yeah.
But even not just that, I used to think it was all like. I used to think it was kind of over the top, like, but it's not. It's just about humans being equal, and that is normal. Like that.
Yeah.
It's sad that it even has a title
Yeah, it is that.
to achieve humans being equal. So I
Yeah.
am a feminist, but I feel like bad for being not feminist enough sometimes talking to like certain girls, because like I would like to stay home, and if it meant I could have a great family rather than having the most amazing job. Like,
Right.
if I have a job I'm happy with and I'm earning enough to have a decent life, then I'm happy. I don't care if I'm not the leader. I don't care if I'm like earning heaps and owning a business. I don't give a shit about that as long as I can live a comfortable, happy life. I'd rather prioritize having like happy family.
The good example,
Mm.
you have is your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Um,
Not about him. He's
one-
white.
but like no, but like him, you know about the gender thing.
Well, how he's a simple creature. Okay, so GPs, they work in clinics, right? They're the doctor you go and see when you have like a flu,
Yep.
the one you go and see. And they work normally like 8 till 5, 9 till 5, weekdays when like the clinic's open. So they have a life, as in like, after 5 they come home. Weekends they have off. There's no on call when people call you in to come to the hospital, things like that. And the training, I don't think you had to move around a lot. That's why it's a lot easier to have a family if you're a GP, or some specialties like radiology and things are quite easy, I think, to do. But if you wanted to be like a general surgeon or like a cardio, like a heart surgeon or like a brain, it's really
You're always on the run because
Yeah.
like patience is your life.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
hard to, you can, like a lot of them do, but it's just hard to. So that's why I was like, oh, I've always thought GP, but I'm like, am I just thinking it because I want to have a family? And then am I sacrificing my career just because I want to have kids? And then I'm like, what if I decide I want to be like okay, I never want to be a cardio surgeon, like an ENT surgeon.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, but then in training, like, I don't know if I'll be able to look after the kids, like, and it's like, and I want to stay at home as well. And then I'm like, then what do I do? And then he's like, well, can I look after the kids? I'm like, yeah, I know, you can. And he's like, yeah, so what's the big deal? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
that's all it was.
I don't know. Maybe that's what Jacinda Ardern's husband said as well, though, because
Oh yeah, because he's a stay-at-home husband.
yeah,
Imagine being the husband of the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
he'd be so proud.
He would be so proud.
Actually, no, his family would be more proud.
He'd have to be a really good guy though. Like if he was a dick,
Yeah.
like if he was like real like up himself, like
Yeah.
it would be really hard for Jacinda to do her job.
That's true. It's like, what about me?
Yeah.
I've got the whole like New Zealand, this country to look after. Yeah.
Or if he was like really insecure or something, because some
Oh.
guys are really insecure.
Yeah. So girls too, but like still, yeah.
Like some guys, like I had a friend, I won't say her name, but I had a friend and her boyfriend, they've broken up now. But she's real smart. Like she's like really smart, and she studies a lot, and she does a lot of like extra things for her degree as well. And the guy, he's really hard worker as well, and he's really smart, but he's always just like 1 or 2 steps behind her. And I think it always kind of got to him, and it only really came out after they broke up. Like whenever she'd bump into him again, he'd kind of be like, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing that, oh, I'm so busy, oh, I'm doing so well, like trying to like prove that, like that he's gonna he like, yeah, he's like insecure about being below her, so he's like promoting what he does.
Right.
Yeah, so like if you're a guy like that,
Yeah.
and then your wife was the Prime Minister of New Zealand, then you find it pretty hard. And I know some guys have problems when the wife earns more than them, which is really old fashioned, but I think it's still a
I
thing.
think it goes against the like status or like the whole
I should be the provider.
yeah.
But those things aren't really the fundamental things of being equal. I feel like the fundamental things of being equal is that a woman doesn't feel like they have less of a chance at something. And like wanting to have a family doesn't mean because I am a woman, I have to have a family, therefore I need to sacrifice my job. It's just a personal preference.
It is a person. Yeah, it shouldn't be seen as like a gender thing or like.
Yeah, it should be a personal. Like a guy could think the same thing. Like a guy could be like, oh, I just want to maybe do GP because I want to have a good family.
Yeah.
But like when a girl says that, it's kind of viewed differently. Like when a girl says that, they're like, oh. But when a guy says that, they're like, oh, what a good guy. Oh, good. Oh, he's so cute. I want him to be my husband.
Oh,
like,
God.
Like, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's viewed badly for women to think like that.
Almost like that. Yeah, that's true. Because
that's the kind of thing you were saying about being busy and working a lot is almost praised.
Yeah, it's because the whole standard, the good standard, is kind of going according with what we consider men usually.
Yeah, what men usually do.
Yeah, is considered good. And I think I tend to do that myself because like wanting to actually fit in with the dudes that like Johnny Boyd and stuff like that. I'll be like, yeah, oh my god, girls are so crazy. They don't know what they're
Johnny and Boyd.
No, okay, they didn't say that. Sorry, I was just, I don't know, just like saying like, oh, girls are crazy. We never know what they're thinking, and they suddenly get angry, and that's because they're probably on their period. But like, still, like I it's just like, what am I trying to say? It's like trying to be on their level is a good thing. Well,
no, that's such a good point.
Yeah,
because like so much of the discussion is like women should aspire to be in these positions that men are in, but like what makes it right?
Yeah,
that's
I don't
so
know.
true. Like they're always talking like all the people leading the country and like and higher like boards and things, a lot of them are men, like women are underrepresented. But why is it like a universal thing that being on those boards is more important as a person than like maybe having a real good family and raising good kids? Like why is the thing that males achieve seen as the thing that we should aspire to be? Whoa. Whoa. That's true. That's true.
I don't know. I feel like people have different ways of dealing with the feminism thing, because some people just yell out and say, I'm not being listened to, you're terrible, I should deserve better. Whereas some people just go, oh, there might be a reason why I'm not listened to. If I do well, then I probably will earn the respect no matter where I'm from, who I am, what sex I am, and stuff like that. And then I thought that's what I should do. At the same, you know how when we were talking the other day, like when we make that a thing, it becomes a thing.
That's my problem as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we have to acknowledge that it already is a thing. But rather than just talking about it makes it more a thing, I feel. But doing something about it makes it less a thing. But it's kind of easier said than done.
The more we talk, the more we realize that the fundamental issues of human rights is within each one of us. In a way, by admitting it, we become a part of the problem. But in order to avoid our dreams becoming nightmares, we must learn to empower ourselves by speaking our minds. And thank goodness I have friends to remind me that every day.